Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Glad to have you with us today. We have a guest again, finally. We caught Dennis at the right time to get him on here. So usually he's working on Saturdays. So we got lucky and caught him kind of on vacation, getting ready to go to military stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, this is Dennis Carrell. He pronounces it Carrell. And he does HON3, and he's going to be doing standard gauge also, like I do, a little bit later on. If you've not seen his channel, go see some of his stuff. He does fantastic stuff. His intros on his videos are worth going to see. They're really cool. He does a really good job on those too. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen his work, but he does really nice stuff. And I think one of the things I was most impressed with was his roster of locomotives that he's got. I was drooling on that one, Dennis. I've got some Blackstones too, but then I've got a few brass ones, but I don't have any of the precision scale or any of those that I'd love to have. But I was really liking yours. They look really nice.
I missed that part.
So anyway, who we got in here today? We got Allie's here. Good morning, Allie.
Hey, Allie.
And Jerry Satterley's here. Good morning, Jerry. And Chuck's here. And let's see who else is here. Rob T-Man's here. Roy Eltham's here. Hey, Roy, Container Man's here. Can I drive over and visit with you? Where are you?
I'm blind. My dad is dead. I cannot watch chat. So.
Okay. Well, I got it.
I apologize.
Allie's here. Good morning, Allie. I think I said that already, but anyway. John Schoolkill's here.
Hey, John.
And who else is here? John 2618's here. Good morning. Almar's here. All righty. Well, anyway, guys, like I said, this is Dennis, and I'm going to start off questioning. Well, actually, first, Dennis, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in hockey?
Well, I've been in mall railroading for a while now. I didn't really get serious until probably the last 2-3 years or so. Live in Northwest Oklahoma, 51, about 2 years away from retirement. Fingers crossed. That's about it,
And you're in the military, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe I should say I am a musician. My military job is my technical job in the military is a trombone player.
Okay.
That's what my MOS is. But for the last probably 7 years, what I've actually done is play bass guitar.
Oh God, yeah.
I play bass. I play guitar. I play drums. Matter of fact, the layout room originally was going to be a studio, and then I decided I live in Northwest Oklahoma. Nobody's going to come to a recording studio out here. It would just be for me. And that's when because I had done model railroading in the mid to late 90s in scale. And I had always known I'm going to go back to model railroading. I just don't know when, and then I finally got this space and I'm like, I actually have room to do HO instead of in. So that's kind of when I made that decision about 2 years ago, give or take.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've got quite a few musician friends around. Our local music in Grants Pass is just killer. And
hey, Wilmer.
I'm good friends with a lot of actually bass players and drummers, and I dabble with guitar. Have tried the drums, and I don't do that very well.
Yeah, if you go to my channel, typically the very first song you hear, the song called Dirty Shame, I'm playing every instrument on that song except the dobro, which a very good friend of mine, he actually wrote the song. He sent me the dobro track, and then I did 98% of. I think there might be another guitar track in there that he did.
Wow.
But everything else except the vocals and the dobro is me.
Oh, I'm even more impressed now. I'm even more impressed now. I thought it was a pretty cool song. Starting with.
My wife just walked in the door. Hello, honey.
Good morning.
So did Puppy.
If she's like my wife, she doesn't like being on camera.
No, I'm sure she doesn't, but she does like listening, and she watches the videos sometimes.
Yeah, we thought it might be a good subject one Saturday to have the wives on and tell us what, how life with a model railroader is. But Steve's wife will not come on, and mine probably wouldn't either.
Nope.
So we mixed that idea, but
It's a good idea.
it just, you got to have willing customer or willing subjects.
I guess we could just kind of go live and follow them around the house and badger them. That might be fun.
Yeah, except they know where we sleep. That's the bad thing about that.
That would be a death sentence.
I think mine just woke up. Right, I went in there. We took that break to get a cup of coffee, and she was still under the covers. So you're not going to watch?
Yeah. So Dennis, you build your own turnouts and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I built two. When I started this, this project behind me actually began as just going to be just a small switching layout just for one Blackstone engine. That's really all I had in mind, because I had an in-scale layout in the family room, very similar to Steve's, about the same size. But I built it underneath the windows that are kind of low to the floor. So it was about 2 foot off the floor. I could not keep the cat off of the layout. And I got really tired of coming into a catnado every day.
Oh my God.
And so I kind of got disillusioned with it. And again, that started out as, this is just going to be a Christmas layout, because that's actually how I got back into modeling, when I was thinking about the studio and all that stuff. I think the wife mentioned that she wouldn't mind having a Christmas train to go around the Christmas tree. Her idea of a Christmas train around the Christmas tree, my idea of the train going around the Christmas tree, two entirely different things. And so it turned into probably a 12 by 6 foot L-shaped that did have a loop around.
Mm-hmm.
But I was at the point to where I really needed to start scenicking and making it look good. And I thought, I'm not going to put this level of energy into this if the cat is just going to continue to tear things up. Yeah. And that's kind of when I made the decision that, I've got this 24 by 26 space in here. Let's go HO. And I've always loved the narrow gauge. I don't remember what year it was I first went and rode the Durango in Silverton, but it was kind of over at that point as far as what I really wanted to do. I still love in-scale, and I still may do something with in-scale again, but the complications of doing narrow gauge and in-scale is pretty significant.
Yeah. I hear it can be done, but I've not seen one in person. I can't imagine trying to model in-scale. I mean, narrow gauge and in-scale.
Right. I think it involves using some Z-scale parts and, a lot of cobbling and things that require a lot of mechanical type stuff that I want to be able to put something on the layout and for the most part have it ready to go.
I can't even imagine narrow gauge and scale. That's it.
I can't either. Well, and Shannon said if you think HOM3 is expensive, go in scale narrow gauge.
Probably.
Yeah.
Don't tell my wife that HO narrow gauge is expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what's the joke? Is when I die, I hope my wife doesn't sell my trains for what I told her they cost. So they're over here talking about us getting the wives on the channel.
It ain't gonna happen.
Well, Roy had a good idea though, Steve. Put them in a dark room so we can't see their faces. Then they can spill the beans under cover of anonymity.
I'm
We
lucky she
can
lets
change their voices.
Yeah, my wife might go for that one, but that's still a stretch, I think.
ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not with me anyway.
So anyway, Dennis, is your camera where you can show us the layout a little bit more than what we see here?
Yeah, I can probably do that. Of course, I might not be able to see what I'm actually doing.
That's quite all right. We can't ever tell what we're doing either.
Make it bigger, Blood.
Yeah, I will hear it. Let me get this up here. There we go.
There's kind of the corner of it.
And you've built all the structures, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, all the trees, all the structure, painted the backdrop.
Yeah, it's a nice backdrop. I like your back. I wish I could paint that well. I'd have painted.
Probably can. Have you tried?
Hey,
No, I didn't even attempt.
that looks a little.
Well,
like
you have to attempt before you actually know whether or not you can.
Yeah, that's true. That's
And
true.
Where are your happy clouds? That looks like Steve Ross work.
Well, I'll tell you, depending on who you ask, a lot of people say once they put the clouds on there, because they're always the same clouds and always in the same place, that they kind of wish they hadn't done it. So.
That is.
And I can, if I decide that I want clouds, I can still come back in and
Oh, you can always put them on.
put them on later if I want to.
Well,
And
now see, if you'd painted that on felt, you could have done the old felt board thing,
well,
like you used to do in kindergarten.
the backdrop itself is attached separately to the module, if you will. And so when I did that, I did that with the confidence that if it turned out horrible, it was just practice. So, and I'm going to do that again. I've got my workbench. Kind of hate to show you my workbench, but because it's a complete total disaster at the moment. But I'm going to do that again in front of the workbench, again, just for practice and just for fun. So that way I'll have kind of a mural to look at as I paint and build my structures.
I'll tell you what, I'm impressed. Yeah, I mean, you're a soldier, you're a modeler, musician, artist. What else can you do? I mean, my goodness, very talented.
I don't know. You probably listed it all right there.
That's a pretty big list.
Yeah.
Well, I've been watching him actually finish out the shed. I don't know, is that a shed? More, it's bigger than a shed. It's more like a garage.
All of this was, except for the sheetrock. I decided I didn't want to mess with the sheetrock, so I hired a contractor to do the sheetrock. But all the framing, all of that I did myself. Yes, I just watch YouTube. Watch YouTube. You can learn how to do anything.
Sure. Yeah, and to your point of painting the backdrops, it's a matter of trying. You never know what you can actually accomplish if you never try it. So
go to Walmart and get you one of the canvases they have there. It's not real expensive. Get some of the folk art and some of the Americana paints. And like the greens up there, the greens are up there done with two colors, black and cadmium yellow. You mix those together and you get various different shades of green. Watch Daryl Huffman, his videos. They're on YouTube. He'd tell you exactly how to do it, and all you got to do is try. Mm-hmm. And the mountain. I don't remember who I watched specifically for the mountain itself, but there's so many people out there that can walk you through step by step, and you've got nothing to lose but at $3 worth of paint and $6 worth of canvas maybe in your first few attempts, and then go for it.
I went through my Bob Ross phase years ago. It's like back in the 90s. It's like, how hard can it be? And I did a few paintings, but I was like, kind of lost interest in it.
My dad did that when Bob Ross was, live on television. I say live, but when his show was on, sure. I've still got a couple of paintings that my dad did back in either the early 80s or the late 70s. So that, growing up, a little bit of artistic stuff was in the home. My oldest daughter is a fantastic artist.
Wow.
So, maybe it runs in the family. I don't know. And I've got a first cousin whose son does amazing digital artwork. He actually, I believe he works for a company that designs like all of the backgrounds in the video games these days, where you've got all of that beautiful digital artwork and stuff. That's what he does.
Well, art, comes in a lot of different forms. I mean, music. I mean, that's an art too. So yeah.
Yeah. So, do we have any questions from from chat to ask Dennis? I'm looking through here. I'm trying to see if anybody's asked one yet that I missed. John likes your 2618. Likes your backdrop. It is nice, and I think you did a video, I think, and while you were painting it.
Yeah,
a little bit of it anyway. Because
I think I did two. One basically on the mountains, and then one on everything that's in the foreground of the mountains.
But yeah, it's everybody likes your backdrop. Roy says Steve Arnold don't have enough hair to do it afro. I don't know what they're talking about there.
Probably talking about
not here.
That's because Shannon's not here.
Shannon's not here to pick on, so he's picking on you now.
That's okay. I'm thinking about shaving it anyway. So.
And Wilmer snuck in. Good morning, Wilmer. Good to see you.
Good morning, Wilmer.
But anyway, yeah. So what's your biggest thing you like about narrow gauge? About narrow gauge specifically? Yeah. Probably just the K series.
Oh, speak of the devil.
Please speak of the devil.
Oh, we're just talking about Shannon hair. Oh my God. Now.
Okay. Now let him answer the question.
I'm sorry.
The K series locomotives. There's just something about the mechanical nature of that particular type of locomotive that I just think they're the best looking steam locomotive there is. Mm-hmm. And that's really what drew me to narrow gauge as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I found that standing next to the narrow gauge engines, because they're so much smaller, they feel a little more intimate. And of course, when they're steamed up, they're like they're a breathing animal, like they're really alive. And I found that a big draw.
And everything's more compact as well. You know, probably because of the smaller driver size.
Yeah.
They're not.
We did have a question here.
They have a really low center of gravity about them.
Mm-hmm.
I just think makes them look better.
And we had a question here from Sparky. Did you draw out the mountains first, or just went with it with paints? What happened. So the big colored mountain, the one that's there as I look at it, the left-hand side, I actually have where it is. Just a second.
Wallace is gone. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shannon.
Yeah, sorry, I was watching a show with my wife, so.
Ooh, nice.
This is what I used to look at as I created that mountain. And as you can see, the mountain that I created looks nothing like this. But I was just going for a general shape. And so I absolutely did have something to look at on that one. And then the colors and the snow, that part of it, that was all just as it happened. And, some of the crevices, they appear, as you're doing it. Oh, I didn't know that was there. That worked. That didn't. Let me go back over it with another color and whatever.
Well, it can be kind of like
the other, what are supposed to be further away mountains, which they're really too big to be further away. We won't talk about that. But those were just as I drew them. There wasn't any. I didn't really look at anything there.
Well, it's kind of like doing weathering on a rolling stock or on structure or something like that. It's the more random you are, or doing any scenery as far as that goes, the more random you are, the better. And I found I was trying to be nitpicky about some of that stuff, and then I found out just put it on, and 9 times out of 10 it looks fantastic, just like that.
Yeah.
Especially when you set it on the layout and get the scenery around it, then it really brings it all together.
Right. If you focus on any one thing, you're probably not going to be happy with the one thing you're focusing on. But the second you take a step back and let it all breathe, then you realize that it doesn't look as bad as you think it did.
Yeah, it blends in. It tends to blend in a little bit more. But if everything's perfect, then that's when they really stand out, and they don't look right then when you get them on the layout. I can't believe no one's asked you about your structure builds. I personally am a big fan of your buildings. My question is, do you have a particular brand of kit that you like or prefer?
I can't say that I've got a particular brand that I prefer, because I think the only things that I've built more than one of are the fine scale miniature, the FSM kits. Fantastic kits. Some of the best out there for sure. Of course, they're not in production anymore. There are a few places where you can still get, I think, some of the parts that people are reproducing. So those are great kits. And then, it's just a matter of what you prefer in a kit. I like wood because wood to me is so much easier to work with than plastic. And I think your results are as good or better. My thing is how good are the instructions?
Instructions? What are instructions?
What was that,
also,
Shannon?
I said, what are instructions?
What instructions?
Yeah. Also, I just realized my boss is on here too in chat.
Uh-oh.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome.
Welcome. What dirt do we have on Shannon?
We got lots of dirt on Shannon.
We got dirt, man.
At least he got his hair cut.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I'm right there with you, Dennis. I like Campbell's kits. I've been a fan of Campbell's kits for years because
Campbell's kits.
They make great structures when you get them done. But you talk about instructions. Now, I know they're better. Tom Miller has the company now and actually lives up in Grants Pass by Steve. And there's much more laser cutting in it, not so much on the wood parts, I think.
Yeah, I've only purchased the older Campbell's kits because you can get them for a little less money usually.
Yeah, and by the way, if you ever do that and you're missing a part, so you get it on eBay and there's some parts missing, you can get them from Tom.
Oh, cool.
Tell them what parts they are, what kit it is, and you can buy those individual parts from them to finish out the kit. But yeah, the instructions are a little tough, but they make a great model.
Yeah, they're definitely well engineered. Finished product, if you can decipher how they want you to build it, the end product is always really good.
Yeah, but they are craftsman kits.
Yeah. To kind of follow up on Wilmer's question, the kits that I build that have really good instructions, to me, are the Wild West models. I built one of those, great instruction booklet that comes with it. And Stu's Tobacco Shop. I'm trying to remember the name of that company. Interaction Models, I think. Again, really great instructions, and also a very well-produced kit as well. So, and Banta does a good job too with the kit. Again, I prefer fold tab A into slot B with a picture. A lot of your instructions are narratives where you're reading a paragraph that's explaining to you what to do with little or no pictures, and that's not fun.
Yeah, I find I don't have much trouble building the structure. What I have a problem with is, especially in the Campbell's kits, is they'll give you a stock piece of wood that's supposed to be used for 4 or 5 pieces.
Right.
And if you don't know that, you'll end up cutting that in the wrong place and end up and then I luckily have a bunch of balsa and basswood from my airplane building days, so I can go there and find something and craft something. But it saves a lot of headache if you read a little bit of the instructions first. Anyway,
cutting a true 90-degree angle, or because I know that's the way the Carrells was. I had to create 2 walls, with degree cuts and 90-degree cuts that I tried, but I didn't get them perfect. But the model turned out okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say, it doesn't help us modelers that don't know how to read.
Exactly.
We can't help you there, Shannon.
Well, he says some company needs to make IKEA-style instructions for model kits. Well, I guess that would make sense if I bothered to ever buy anything from IKEA, but
I don't think I ever did.
So what am I? Oh, Roy's egging on Shannon again.
Oh yeah, he will be, and I know my boss is watching this because I know he's in there, and he's just laughing at Roy. I can hear it now, and tomorrow I'm gonna be like, that Roy bloke is a really good bloke, and I'm like, yeah, I know you say that.
So Dennis Shannon, I almost had Shannon hooked into American narrow gauge, and now he's
nearly hooked. Hang on, we're nearly hooked in. I've got 2 K27s. I've got the C19, the C21 or 25. That's still at Steve's. I've got like a box of track, 3 turnouts. You're meant to be making me another 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah, I can make you some turnouts.
That sounds like he's hooked to me.
Yeah, but now he's going to go. Now he's going to go Australian on us.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. You'd be like William, or Bill.
Some of the finest looking narrow gauge layouts I've seen are in Australia. So
what with the ON30?
Yeah.
Okay, don't get started on that. I can tell you that right now.
Rob says after you cut and mess up a kit, then it turns into a kit bash job. Yeah. You are so right, Rob. About half of mine that I've built so far have done that. So, and I've got a coaling tower that's going to end up being a kind of a kit bash redo. And I bought a new coaling tower because of the way I messed it up. I didn't really mess it up as much as I didn't get the lights in it. I wanted to put actual working lights on it. And once I got the cold bin put in, I couldn't find a way to get in there really well with the wiring and stuff. So I'll build a new one and put the lights in ahead of time. So. But yeah, you're right. They can turn into a kit bash job real quick. Everybody's just picking on each other today.
Especially me. Especially Roy against me.
Oh, man.
Supposedly Roy's going to come to your place, Steve.
Okay.
And what's strange now, he says, I built one. It took 20 years for me to muster the courage. I was happy with the way it turned out, though. And I'm assuming he's talking about a Craftsman kit of some sort. But yeah, that's some of it's just stepping in. It's kind of like painting the backdrop. Step in and give it a try, because you never know what you can do.
Yeah, just start with the first 2 or 3 steps, and if you need to walk away, walk away. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
That or take a step from the Aussies and just scratch build everything.
So Dennis, are you DCC? You're DCC, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And are you doing some Arduino stuff on yours?
Yeah, I have the LEDs installed in my welding scene. that I will have a welding scene almost identical to what forgetting the name, Tom's Trains and Things. If you haven't seen his series on Arduino, pretty much identical to what he's doing. So that will probably be the last thing I do once I finish the scenery. I will go back in and finish the sketches up and that kind of thing and get it all to where it's actually working.
Yeah, no, I've looked at Tom's welding stuff and that, and it's I want to try and learn more of the stuff that he's got on there, but trying to find the time to do it amongst everything else is
right
a bit tricky. But I've done the fire, like a bonfire scene. I've done a welding scene. I was going to rewrite the script so I could have 2 welding scenes where one welder will go off, and then when that one shuts off, another one in a different spot will go off, and they'll just alternate randomly. But it never got there.
Yeah.
Now, Dennis, I got a question. What kind of rolling stock do you focus on? Anything particular, cattle or, boxcars?
I wouldn't say I have a focus at this point. I think I do have more stock cars than I have anything else at this point. It'd be a toss up between stock cars and box cars. I think I've got 3 or 4 reefers and about 3 or 4 of everything else except for tank cars. I think I've got 1 tank car. So eventually it will probably be coal, and I plan on having a fair amount of stock cars because I've got 2 or 3 other corrals that I will build eventually.
Actually, I was going to say, if you're going to do coal, I remember watching a video. A guy has dual gauge. He's got N-scale dual gauge, and his narrow gauge stuff. It's some of the Rio Grande stuff and whatnot. And he was saying something interesting where back in the days before gondolas and that existed, they used to ship all the coal in the boxcars. They used to just shovel it in and then shovel it back out.
Yeah.
No, they did a lot of it.
To answer Heath's question real quick, no, that is the only thing I have finished at the moment. I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't begin any of the rest of the layout until that was finished, because I wanted to see everything it was going to take A through Z to finish, to completion, an area of some significance, just to see what it was like, and even with the electronics, because I've got block detection. I can actually see if I can do this real quick, if it'll let me, to prove I can do it. Dead airspace.
Talk, Shannon.
Well, Heath also wants to know if it's built to a specific standard.
You mean like
N-Track or one
N-Track?
of those?
No, it was all my own, because I really never planned on even adding on to this, to truth be known.
Actually, realistically, if you don't build it to N-Track standards, the chances are you've built it to Fremo standards without even knowing it.
Could be, but it doesn't butt up against anything else. But yes. I can change, with my cell phone. If you can see the lights up there, those that's kind of interlinked switches, so even the lights work, and that's layout command control is what's controlling all of my switches, and anything else I do that is based on the layout that's not running trains. So that's through JMRI. So that part of it is, and again, and where I was going with that is I wanted to do that to see if it was worth doing on the rest of the layout. I don't know that block detection will be. I haven't decided that, whether or not I want to go full scale with block detection everywhere. But I do like the way the layout the LCC works with the switching and things like that, and going through JMRI and doing it on the phone. So,
well, I guess, if you do start building onto the layout and, building more modules, you're pretty much already set up for block detection, because all you got to do is go 2 or 3 modules and you go, okay, that can be one block, and you just have one block detector, on those 3 sections.
Yeah, that's the plan. Is as soon as I get this finished, I was going to start on staging, get staging completed, and then the next similar location to this, build it, get the track done, and then connect the 2 together. Because staging is going to be in one part of the room, and the next actual town that I will come into after leaving staging is actually on the other side of my wall here. Because a lot of there's going to be some hidden track between that point and the next point. But that's the goal. I really thought I would be started on staging by now. Life has gotten in the way.
Well, just briefly going back to what Shannon was saying about the boxcars, loading the coal into boxcars. They did that with the gold and silver also. On the Rio Grande Southern, at least, I know they did that, and they did it to help keep the ore from getting frozen in the wintertime. So they could move it once they got it where it was going.
Yeah, they also did that with wheat, probably even into the 60s. Where I live, I sit on the right of way of the MKT that did run through here at one time, and just probably 4 blocks away, my dad loaded wheat into boxcars as a young man. So.
Oh, well, Heath had a question here. If I can find it now. Yeah, I probably can't find it now. Ah, here it is. Okay. So nice. You got into LCC. So you have some RR kits. I don't know what that is for. Evidently you do.
RR circuits.
Railroad circuits.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've got 1 block detector, and I've got a 2, what do they call them? Tower commanders, I think. It's been over a year since I've installed all of that stuff. It's working perfectly with or without the computer. Once you unhook your computer, the memory chips, the chips themselves, the motherboards, they retain everything. So you don't have to have your computer or JMRI running to operate the layout as normal. You don't have to go through the process of turning on the computer and all that.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Well, Sparky getting on to Heath about not being his screen. So we not have any more questions for Dennis.
I've got a question. Maybe I missed it, but when did you start this layout? I mean, how long?
I know I started the building, I believe, 2 years ago in October. So, while I was working on finishing the interior of the 24 by 26 space, I began working on that. I spent, 2 days working in the building and 1 day working on that. It was kind of how I did things. So this is probably about 1.5 years, maybe, worth of work, I would say, give or take. I'd have to go back and look, but about 1.5 years is what I've got into this right now.
And also, are you handling the track too, or is it flex?
Well, right now everything's flex, but I do have. That was going to be one of the next things I did. It's because I want to build a grade test run, something that I can, about 10 feet long, that I can create a grade on. I plan on hand laying that jig, if you will, because I want to find out how many cars my K27s can pull, the Blackstones, and still go up that grade. So do you have that information, Shannon?
Shannon doesn't have the information. No. I have not attempted that, but mine has fairly steep grades on it. Most of mine are at least 2.5%, if not more. And I have heard that the Blackstone engines don't pull real well. That was their biggest thing. And I think it's because of the weight. They just don't weigh as much as, say, a brass locomotive. But I had planned on double heading and triple heading anyway for a lot of that stuff, just for operational interest. So I wasn't real concerned about that. And I don't plan on pulling a 30-car train either.
Well, I don't either, but I would like to be able to pull 10 cars with one train if at all possible.
Well, you know what's funny though, if you go ride the Cumbers and Toltec, and they're running K36s most of the time on their passenger stuff, they're limited usually to 8 to 9 cars because they're running a 4% grade, and you just don't pull very much up a 4% grade unless you've got more locos, even for a bigger loco like a K36. So. Yeah, prototypically, you're not going to find a lot of cars behind a K27 unless it's on level ground. But that's also modeler's license. You do what you want. It's your it's your layout.
Just one thing. Just looking through the chat, looked like a question slipped by that Sparky was trying to ask about 5 minutes ago. Sparky was trying to ask, why would you need block detection if you can see the full layout right by standing right in front of it?
Well, that's a good question and a very valid point. The reason on this was to do it, to find out what it took, what the cost analysis was, and to have the experience of doing it. And then with that knowledge, is it worth the effort to do on the rest of the layout? That's the reason why.
So in other words, you did it because of why not?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to see what it was going to take, and because if you make a commitment to something that's large, before you've ever even done it, I try to be fairly analytical about everything I do before I do it, so I can make an informed decision. Is this really what I want to do?
Actually, in saying that, with the whole block detection thing, was actually quite fun. I was watching a video today. It popped up on Facebook. It's a company that came up with a new signal doohickey for model railroads, but that could be another conversation later on. But the one thing I liked is with the signal stands, so the 2-aspect, 3-aspect signals, what they did, because the guy is like, look, I run N scale and I'm always sick and tired of knocking my signals over, then breaking and ladders falling off, this and that. And yeah, the solution was where the signal sits, obviously you got the hole drilled for the wires, but it's got a magnet and then a bit of steel on the bottom of the signal. So if he knocks it over, it just knocks over and then it's like, oh, and then he just snaps it back up and problem solved.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. I've seen that used before. Yeah,
I've never seen it, but like seeing that today, I'm like, I'm going to do that. Because the amount of times I knock things over or break it, like I always have like a tube of glue on the layout, and if I'm reaching over and I hear something, I'm like, here we go again.
Roy Hardwick's got a question. Said, how many Crestman kits are on the module?
Well,
how long to build the biggest kit?
The shortest answer is all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 that were kits. I've got 2 scratch builds. The station, which I've got a video on that. The station is actually a 2x4. There are two 2x4s glued together and then cut on a table saw to create the pitch of the roof. It's a complete solid chunk of wood. And then I did another card stock scratch build that my first attempt at a scratch build, but it works. But the one that took the longest and was probably the most difficult one I've done was absolutely the Carrells. And again, most of that was probably because of my lack of reading comprehension with Campbell scale model kits.
Was that? Yeah, that was a Campbell's kit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've got 2 of the one kit. They made a couple of different ones.
Right.
I've got 2 of the same one because I'm planning on making a pretty good size corral area. And then I've got a rolling cattle loader that rolls out to the train.
Cool.
And back. They made those too. So I found that. I don't remember what kit it is, but that's an extra piece. And I don't know if I'll ever get to it or not. But
that's one really good thing about the Campbell scale models is they come with blueprints that are actual size. And so does fine scale miniatures. Almost anything on there that's either Campbell's or fine scale miniatures, you could build again just by purchasing the raw lumber.
yeah, just having the plan. You've got all the templates and everything on it already.
Templates and stuff like that. Because I don't think I'll probably buy another corral kit.
Yeah.
JMRI.
There you go, Heath.
The quickest answer, just bang.
Yeah, there you go. Dennis is not slow with the questions or the answers. Is he? He's right on top of it. Okay, he's got another one. Is Dennis an engineer or a project manager?
Well, if I understand the question, I would say I'm a project manager, but I might be misunderstanding the question. I'm absolutely a modeler first and a railroad enthusiast second. Is that the question?
Heath doesn't know. He doesn't know what he was asking.
I'm definitely more about the artistic modeling aspect of the hobby, more so than I am any real world engineering aspect when it comes to how the railroad worked. I'm certainly not a rivet counter, so to speak, when it comes to the prototype of the railroads and stuff. I'm going to be pretty loose on those things as long as it looks really believable.
Well, now he's asking why use block detection for DCC. You got an answer for that, Dennis, in your opinion?
Well, again, like I said before, I wanted to do it to know whether or not I wanted to do it. My original thought was, and again, I don't know that I'll actually go through with this. If my layout, I plan on being able to have continuous run. If I can set a locomotive in motion and know where it's at all times, and if I ever get lucky enough that I can talk 2 or 3 of my friends to having a legit operating session, then you can have someone sitting at the computer monitoring where everything is, and then if you need to stop a train somewhere to let another train pass, and you got all that stuff figured out in advance, then that's why you want block detection. And of course, I am going to have hidden staging, and knowing which train is where on a block detection and staging might come in handy. Might not be worth the effort. That's again one of the reasons why I went through with the block detection, and I know block detection makes no sense here. I was well aware of that when I did it. So
yeah, but I was going to answer Allie's question. It's if you are going to have a big layout and do operations, block detection is a big advantage, depending on how big a layout and then how many operators you're going to have. But if you're going to have central control, it's almost essential to have that so that the operator knows where everything is, so you don't have accidents.
Yeah.
Well,
And my whole theory about the railroad has always been, if I build it, they will come. There might not be any model railroaders in my area, but I guarantee I got a few friends that I say, why don't you come over on Saturday, bring your cell phone, and download the free app, and then they've got a throttle in their hands right now, they might walk out after a couple of hours going, I think I'll come back next Saturday. That was fun.
Yeah.
That's always been the plan, is to maybe create another model railroad eventually. I also hope someday maybe to have a grandson. I don't know.
Well, I've got one, and he has nothing to do with the layout.
How old is he?
He's 15, and he's right here on the phone.
Yeah, that's
well.
Too many youngsters are that way these days.
I'll put it this way: they're over here every Sunday. We're building a pool. Hopefully, about 2 weeks away from being finished, and they still don't know we're putting the pool in. That's how
doing a great
they
job.
are. All we got to do is keep the blinds closed, and they have no clue.
They don't have a clue. They go over there. There's a pool in the backyard, almost done, and they don't have any idea.
And they don't watch this, so I can say it. they don't have a clue.
Actually, just going back a cog, with you talking about the block control, I was talking to another modeler where I work at, and yeah, I know he was going to see if he can do it with Arduino, but by the sounds of it, he's going to try and get, either he's going to run, the DCC++ EX system, or he's going to run a combination of whatever throttle he decides to use with the Arduino stuff. But he was going to try and design a script where if he does, is running trains on a large layout and he does lose track of the train, if it does approach a signal which is meant to be red, the Arduino will take over, figure out the address of the locomotive, and then tell the locomotive to stop at the signal.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work, though.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a lot of work, unless it's already been done. But
right.
That's the only, he came in the other day and he's like, oh yeah, no, this is what I'm thinking of doing, and I'm like, oh Jesus, and I'm straight away like, well, when you come in next, I'm gonna pick your brain about Arduino because I need to know more about Arduino, and if you do this stuff, you're my man.
Yeah, I've got a brother-in-law who's a legit rocket scientist that is a programmer, and I plan on picking his brain for any future Arduino projects.
Yeah, it's nice to know somebody knows how to program.
Yeah,
I found that out in college.
You guys are like,
I can just imagine you're like, oh, can you write this program up? It needs to do this. And he'll be like, yeah, no worries. 10 minutes later, done.
Yeah, well, when I was in college,
my brother-in-law, his whole house, he's got a smart house that he has created himself. He didn't want to get involved in Ring or anything like that because of, he's got a high-level security clearance because of the work he does. He's a government contractor, so his whole house is completely Arduino'd out. He's got an Arduino for his doorbell. He's got a 3D printer that he's printed all of the board holders and everything. is really cool.
Are you sure he doesn't work for the Secret Service? Because the more you talk about him.
No,
well, Roy says he's going to binge watch all your videos today.
I need all the views and all the subscriptions I can get.
I want to steal his opening, his opening and his closing for his videos, so I can put it on mine. It looks really cool.
I figured maybe that was the one thing I could do that might make somebody want to come back, even if they just watch the intro and go, okay, I'm not interested in this, and go on, which, that's just all part of it.
They are. Yeah, I love your intros. They're really good. Let's see, who else we got here?
Well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be hitting your videos too.
Well, thanks.
I'm ashamed to say I haven't watched them.
Yeah, and if my boss is still in here, I'll see you in the morning.
Bernard says, Claude, tell him it's just showed up from Amazon yesterday. I don't know what he's referring to. So if you can expand on that.
I'll tell you, my 3D printer just showed up like 2 days ago. So I haven't even taken it out of the box yet because it looks to me like putting the 3D printer together is going to be fairly involved process. So I'm going to wait until I get back from military to jump into that. But I now have a 3D printer.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I've got to invest in one because
My wife is staring. Are you going to forget to tell them that was a anniversary present? It was an anniversary present from my wife. So.
Wow.
Well, we've
I
got
can just see her
about
now with the wooden spoon.
we've got about 5 minutes left. I'm right now looking for your. I forgot to do this earlier, Dennis, and I apologize. I'm going to find your channel and find the link for it and get it up here. Oh, here it is, right here.
Otter Creek.
I'm going to put the link. I'm going to put the link for it in chat. Ooh, I like that picture too. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Your banner picture is really cool.
Yeah.
You like that dog from that movie Up? Oh, hello, squirrel.
Yeah. Well, I happen to be on there because there's the link to Dennis's channel, and I'll also put it in the description after the show. Oh
Just
my gosh. Anyway, okay. Oh, Bernard says when they first see the pool, tell them that. Oh, that just got here from Amazon. Yeah, order from them. They just dropped it off today. Yeah, I'll let the wife tell them that. That's her plan anyway. Anyway, we got about 3 or 4 minutes left. Anybody else have any questions for Dennis?
No, all I see is a message from my boss saying he'll see me in a few hours.
Yeah, yeah. Better get to bed so you can get to work.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if I don't wake up on time, he only lives down the road from me, so he can come to my door and be like, "Oi, what when you're at work?"
Well, message to your boss. We love you, Shannon. Take care of this guy.
Yeah, and Dennis just told me I didn't know exactly where he lived, but he lives right on the highway. I'm going to be taking out through the panhandle of Oklahoma. Excuse me. But he's not going to be there, so unfortunately, stopping by and seeing him at that time is not going to work. But I will get out there. I will get out there sometime.
And you're in the Tulsa area?
Yeah, we're on the far east side of Tulsa.
My wife has a brother that lives in Bixby.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We get out there occasionally. So if I find myself in Tulsa, I will be giving you a message because I definitely would like to take a look at. For sure, your track work looks absolutely.
You're welcome anytime. Roy Hartstead's got relatives in Bixby also, I think.
Cool.
So, yeah,
Next minute it'll be like, "Welcome to Claude's barbecue." Grande.
Yeah. Oh, and I've got extra room, so if you need a room for the night, we can put you up. We've actually got 3 extra rooms, so.
I'm on my way. I got a ticket booked.
I'm sorry?
I got a ticket booked. I'm on my way.
Oh, you're on your way?
Yep.
Well, the pool's got a little bit of water in it this morning from the rain, so if you want to go.
That'll work.
Go splash around in the bottom of the pool, you can.
That'll work.
Yeah, Roy says he has a cousin in Bixby. Oh, Chuck wants to know, how much would Dennis charge for music for my channel? That's a good question.
Well, I don't consider myself a writer at all. So I have written a few lousy songs in my day, but I would never put them on the channel.
Well, tell them what you told us earlier, though, before the show started about doing the tracks for the music.
Oh yeah, the main song that usually, I'm not saying on all my videos, it's not all of them, but the song "Dirty Shame," one of my best friends from high school wrote, and then I'm playing all the instruments except the dobro, and I'm not singing. So everything you hear on that, 90% of it is me. And then there's another song that I have used frequently called "Dancing with the Devil," which is another good friend of mine that I'm in the military with. He actually is an artist there in the Tulsa area by the name of Dan Jordan. He wrote that song, and I'm playing all the instruments on it except for the vocals and his guitar. So,
wow.
Yep. Hello, Crystal.
Copyright-free music to
Hi,
make.
Crystal.
All right, guys, that's that's the hour. Dennis, we sure appreciate you making time. I know your time is not huge for this time slot, but it was nice to be able to get you on today.
Well, I'm glad you asked me. I enjoyed it.
And let's stay in contact because I want to come out and see your layout in person sometime. And,
Anytime, you're welcome.
like I say, you're welcome to come here and see it here also.
And I will eventually make my way to the States when it's humanly possible and see everyone.
Well, get you a life vest and start swimming, man.
There you go. Oh, and by the way, quick reminder, we're taking the next 2 weeks off.
Oh, yes. I want to remind everybody, we won't be here the next 2 weeks. I'll be out of town. I might do a short live stream from Silverton, if possible. Or somewhere in that area, if possible, but I don't know what the capabilities are going to be right now for that. But we definitely won't be here next week. So have a nice 4th of July. Be safe with the 4th of July.
And this guy,
it's the 4th of July for you guys.
Yes, next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
and this guy's going in.
We don't celebrate the 4th of July. They do.
It has meaning to them.
You're getting me in trouble.
Yeah. But anyway, we won't be here next week or the week after. So we'll see. We'll see you in 3 weeks, and you guys have a good couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and
this
we'll
guy's
see you
going
later.
double eye surgery on the 1st. So
Oh,
yeah, so
he's tired of looking at you. That's what it is.
yeah, he's got cherry eyes, 2 cherry eyes. So we're getting eye surgery on the 1st. So that he's gonna be a cone head.
Yeah, you're going to be busy.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Okay, everybody. Good to see you, and we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Good to meet you, Dennis.